In this Kerbal Space Program video, we are here at the launch pad. Let's just get this thing in the air already. So this is a rocket that I made obviously to get to Eve's surface. And I haven't really spoiled it yet, but I will kind of now. Spoiler alert, things really don't go super well later in the video. I mean, this is the second video in a row where things haven't gone to plan when I try to make them that way in KSP. Anyway, as you can see here, we have this massive rocket to get there, just staged in the first stage. We have that massive fairing to hold, trick I'm using to easily get up from Eve's surface, or at least I was going to try to use to reduce delta V requirements. So yeah, it's third stage now. I want to pitch up steeper to get the time to collapse this far away. Separation of the fairing there, and as you might be able to see, there you go. That's the system. Just to remind you what it's supposed to do. Those rotors spin at high speed, and so they create enough lift. I tested it from Kerbin. Kerbin's atmosphere is thinner, even if I think its gravity is stronger. It might not be. I think it is weaker. If it can work on Kerbin, it probably can work on Eve, even if its gravity is a bit stronger. But yeah, we're in orbit, and now I'm gonna start with the maneuver node here. So this took quite some time to set up, because I'm not very good at maneuver nodes. But yep, we're firing that good old Rhino engine, because it just has a very good thrust to weight ratio, and it's a pretty efficient engine in a vacuum, at least. Yes, it's almost done. So thing is, I couldn't get a direct encounter from Kerbin though to Eve though, so I just set it really close, and then you'll see later I created the second maneuver node while on the solar orbit, as that just was more efficient. So we just left Kerbin's sphere of influence, just time warp to there. Yep, I'm gonna create a maneuver here. This took a very long time to make this maneuver. Well, at least compared to what some people could make, because it was mainly just turning it carefully to make sure that it lined up, which is obviously very difficult. See, as you can see, I'm changing how much it moves using the maneuver node editor that came a really long time ago with an older version of KSP. But yeah, this took a very long time to do, because every time I raised the inclination, it would always decrease the size of the orbit. When I increased the size, it lowered the inclination, so I was kind of a bit stuck there, as you can see, but it was okay. I was able to figure it out, as you'll eventually see. See, I tried moving it all around the orbital trajectory here just to see if I can make any kind of difference at all. Spoiler alert, it didn't. Yeah, so it didn't make enough of a difference though, so yep, so you can see it's very close of an encounter, but it's not close enough, as it's still, obviously as you can see they're about 137,000 kilometers away, 173,000 now as I dragged it. Yep, so got a long time, still trying to move it here. They accidentally made it further apart. So yeah, see Moho in the front there, the analog, or the KSP version of Mercury. But yeah, I dragged it along, I dragged it way too far. And it was still really close, but I just still got it too much of a distance. So yeah, it's even closer now. Let's try and raise it, and there you go. I Even the weird thing was, I actually did it several times before in the same way. Probably, well, definitely wasn't, but for me it felt the same way, but it hadn't made an impact, and it hadn't made it close enough till this. But anyway, so that's our future maneuver node trajectory. No, I mean trajectory that's been displayed in the maneuver node, our future one, at least if we burn in the maneuver node. So, yep, I just tried to get a periapsis to an aerobraking speed where basically we go through the atmosphere of Eve and we use the friction from that and a massive inflatable heat shield to help slow it down enough that we don't need to burn at periapsis to get ourselves into an orbit, or just stop there so we don't need to use any fuel. So yeah, I went a bit too far, overshot it, but just carefully clicking there was the solution. And there you go, 66,000. So yeah, I'm just warping to the burn here. Yeah, 12 seconds, because you're generally supposed to start the burn about half of its length away from the actual maneuver node location. Or at least that's what I always do it at. So you're about to start the burn here. And yeah, there you go. So it was a relatively quick one for the Rhino engine, but as you can see, we're pretty much pointing straight down. Was down really even a concept, to be honest, in space? Well, not really. So yeah, there's our encounter. I mean, on Earth, every way is down, technically. But anyway, we're not going to get too deep in this. Yeah, so I always close the maneuver node just so it doesn't accidentally knock me around, and also so it sometimes just gets in the way for me of being able to see the actual periapsis. I sometimes get it confused, the trajectory. Yeah, I got confused between which way the craft will go for some reason there. But yeah, we're now time warping towards Eve, 70 days, so still have a lot of delta V, but well, we don't really need it, as I explained earlier, thanks to aerobraking. Yeah, we're about to enter sphere of influence of Eve, which I don't know. Feel like I need to explain this, but that basically is the area where, turning towards retrograde now, that's the area where Eve has more gravitational pull on me than the sun. And for any other object, every single thing in our solar system has a sphere of influence. It's just so tiny for most objects, like small asteroids, that's negligible, like Gilly's moon. Gilly's. What the heck is wrong with me today? Eve's moon, Gilly, as you can see there orbiting. But yeah, I also forgot. Well, the time warp continued even when I was in the atmosphere. And yeah, let's decouple that. And deploy the inflatable heat shield. Send a bit more. Yeah, I was still time warping for a bit, and I noticed that at about 88,000 feet, around that. But anyway, deploying the massive 10-meter inflatable heat shield. Still doesn't cover all of it, so I just really had to hope that it didn't destroy the airplane wings. It did break the antenna though, but that was fine. I just did that in case, for some reason, in case I only took two crew members, even though it's a free crew member capsule, and also if one of them was a scientist, and if that's the one that stayed in the cockpit, which I don't know why I'd do that anyway. I don't know, whatever. So as you can see there, those blades are already starting to turn. and you're um, about to see how they will assist us. Did make a bit of a blunder here. I jettisoned the heat shield. We'll see in a second. I jettisoned the heat shield and it didn't go too well. Yeah, good thing I quick save when it happened. Yeah, there you go. Separated it and destroyed the skiff engine. So yeah, I just reloaded it. I reloaded several minutes back when I was setting up my encounter, where I redid it so I would land in daytime. I flipped the craft upside down, so obviously the heat shield wouldn't be crashing into me. But yeah, you can see what I was talking about. There's motors. I I can press a button, which is the 1 key, and that basically turns them into full RPM, but they're just being driven by the wind at the moment and by the atmosphere. But they help send this thing really well, and I'm changing the altitudes a bit for all the parachutes. And of course, conducting science. This is a science mode playthrough I'm currently playing on. I probably will do a series on a new one, because you may notice later that yeah, this one gets a bit broken. No spoilers. But yeah, so just coasting downwards. The footage is split up here. That's why the music may sound weird. I got a quick save there. I was just a bit concerned. So yeah, we are slowing down by a significant amount, as you can see here as well. Just because those motors, which aren't even running, just because those fat 455 airplane wing control surfaces. Yeah, I had a bit of an illusion. I keep turning the camera just as for some reason I thought the area directly below us was the sea and the darker area was the land. I just got a bit confused. Wanted to see what happened if I turned it upside down, and it was actually turned the other way. But yeah, this took a very long time, just sitting here waiting for this to completely descend. Was it worth it? Maybe. Well, it was worth the YouTube video. Well, it's also a maybe. I even set it up on a upwards trajectory. Briefly, I deployed the parachutes, but I set their altitude so low that I could tell that we were basically the terrain was relatively high, like about 500 meters, around that, above sea level. So I set them to deploy at 50 because I didn't even need them to slow the craft down enough. Basically, what happens is once it lands, I will jettison them and fly up. But I notice as well, I installed a mod for the game, Parallax. I installed it, and I accidentally configured it incorrectly, so I just decided to reload it with it configured correctly. But you'll see what it happened. Just a second. Spoiler alert! It completely ruined the save file. But you'll see. But yeah, so we're just still descending right now. Maximum time warp. Yeah, sorry. And here you go. But the atmosphere broke. And I crashed into that. Basically, I tried to make this effect though in one of my older videos where I tried to break the game, because you can cause it by getting ejected out really far and switching to a object on the surface. Yeah, I reloaded here. That didn't work, but apparently just installing some more things for apparently installing some more things for Parallax too so that it works correctly is enough to break it. Yeah, we glitched into the ground as it kept moving upwards. I did have some cheats enabled though. Pretty obvious reasons. I just wanted to see what if the joints are unbreakable, just to see if we could survive. And the capsule's stuck. I just thought, why not just do some science? But yeah, guys, thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please consider dropping a like down below. See you in the next one. And as always, good night.